Mega Drop emulators, and much more. Also, we're getting very close to 3OK subscribers. And if you've been enjoying these episodes, hit subscribe and help me reach that goal. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So JTPlay has shown a preview of Universal SlopKit, which works with all PS5 versions. The idea is to give users one website that can cover firmwares 1.xx all the way through 13.60. We're still looking at a kernel exploit that only goes up to 12.70. Keep in mind that firmwares 1.x through 5.x, and use the reddest path for an automatic jailbreak. And work on 6.xx and 7.xx is still being explored. Now, what I really like about this is that instead of maintaining a bunch of separate hosts for different firmware versions, Universal SlopKit could give someone just one place to start. We'll have to see how the public release comes together, but the coverage shown here is very promising. The next demonstration comes to us from Mohammed Adil, and this one is DooMC0re, running on a PlayStation 5 with firmware 13.60. The setup uses LuaGB to dot for inside Star Wars Racer Revenge. From there, DooMC0re runs as a userland emulator and loads official Doom. WAD files. The demonstration also shows working saves and support for online multiplayer. And because it is running on 13.60, it also gives developers another practical example of what can be done in a userland on much newer firmware. Major is also working on a new tool called Prospero Manager. This is an all-in-one dashboard for common PS5 homebrew tasks. Now, this is very similar to other homebrew apps that we have out right now, like the ones from Sonic ESO. But in this one, we can see that the review brings file browsing, packages installation, payload launching, and save backups into one interface. It also includes an installed game library where you can search, filter, and launch PS4 and PS5 titles. Now, there is quite a bit of system information built into, including running processes logs, thermal settings, and access to payload repositories. This is still development work, but might be worth taking it for a spin once it is released. Now we get to something from Sonic ESO, and this one is called LuaMD. And this is version 1.0, which brings Mega Drive and Genesis emulation to the PlayStation 5. It runs the LuaMD the EMU core as a native x86-60 for userland shellcode, delivered through LuaGB inside the Star Wars Racer Revenge PlayStation to Emulator Sandbox. Now LuaMD supports .bin file, .mdgen, and SMD cartridge formats. And it includes a 6-button controls and persistent SRAM saves, so games with battery-backed savings can keep their progress. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 have been tested. I think this is a really cool use of the LuaGB environment, just like with and again. Another project worth checking out. Now, there is also another project from Sonic ESO, and this one is called LuaGB. And this is the sibling project, or that's what I would like to call it as. And it brings Game Boy and Game Boy Color games into the same setup. This one uses Fix's 94's Fixed GB core and supports Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and GBS files. It also includes battery saves, MBC3 real-time clock support, and an optional Game Boy Color boot ROM. For the original startup animation, post-release fork has already cleaned up the save data process and corrected the input in the ROM picker. The basic workflow is similar to LuaMD. Put your games in the save data container, launch Star Wars Racer Revenge, run LuaGB from the Hall of Fame menu, and then just send over the Lua payload. So between DooMC0re, LuaMD, and LuaGB, we're starting to see LuaGB become a platform for some of those old games and emulators that will be running on the very latest firmware. Next up, the etaHEN side of the scene is moving again as well. An update shared by Loadin Mods shows etaHEN version to .6b, expanding support through PS5 Firmware 12.70. The plan changes include placing the etaHEN toolbox at the top of the home menu, fixing a toolbox text, and improving both the shell UI hooks and the app jailbreak behavior. The etaHEN is the base behind several of the newer all-in-one hint projects such as OnionHEN and PIZZA-HEN. So it will be interesting to see what happens to those in the coming months now. Now one of those etaHEN based projects is OnionHEN, and it now has a formal version 0.0.10 release. Supported firmware range is for 0.03 through 12.70, and its toolbox brings together payload loading, fan in control out, jailbreak overlays, and a cheat engine with JSON SHM, CIFAR, and SHN-EXT support. The release also includes 13 languages, and Thai support was added afterwards. And really what stands out here is how quickly OnionHEN has gone from a demonstration that I covered in my last PlayStation Homebrew news video into this packaged project. So anyways, if you've been following the different etaHEN forks, you can take this one for a test drive right now. Now PIZZA-HEN has also reached its own version 1.0 checkpoint, and this project combines a toolbox with several PS5 components. So you can select either KStuff Lite 1.10 or KStuff Drive 1.2 for the session. And the package integrates Sheet Runner, ShadowMountPlus FDP, and PS5 debut. The DPI to path has been tested on real hardware, from firmware 12.20 all the way through 12.70, and that DPI is the direct package installer, in case you were wondering there. So now we have etaHEN itself, moving towards to .6b and OnionHEN and PIZZA-HEN, which is right there as well. Now again, my preference would still be to see useful fixes contributed upstream, when that makes sense, because it's easier for users to follow just one shared code base. But again, I will be covering etaHEN for sure in the future. The PS5 WebKit Autoloader from its PLK has moved to version 0.3.1. This is a tool that automates the WebKit setup, so you don't have to do things like send over payloads manually. The new release can detect corrupted apps, tap cache data, and offer to clear it, which should make a failed offline setup easier to recover from. It also updates the bundled, unified autoloader to version 0.1.4 and adds an option to close the browser after loading. Next we have ShadowMountPlus, which has reached version 1.7 Alpha 8. The important fix here is the handoff between game processes. So ShadowMountPlus can now remount fake lib when the console moves through exit, spawn, or load exec rather than losing an overlay during the process change. Wider 1.7 work also includes cached overlays, emulator-related updates, and fixes around the image cache. Now, if you use ShadowMountPlus, then there really is no reason not to upgrade. You have a stable system set up already that you like. JTPlay is a PS5 media player project that I keep mentioning on the channel, and its experimental web branch is growing into something closer to a network media hub. This branch adds an HTTP proxy to work around browser cores. Restrictions: there is an experimental SSDP and DLN, a discovery, along with container remuxing and a browser-based interface. The goal is simple: to make it easier for the PS5 to discover, access, and play media from other devices on the network. So I wanted to include this because this project is definitely expanding beyond basic playback and could be a very helpful homebrew application in the future. Now the most technical story this week comes to us from the PS5 UART repository. This new document mounts how data moves from an NVMe address on the host side down to the physical Titania. NAND storage covers page geometry, scrambling checksums, error corrections, lookup tables, objects, RAID, and block mapping. Now most folks probably won't ever need to get this deep into it, but detailed storage research like this can become great reference material that future repair work and other tools are built upon. For DS4, let's a wireless DualShock 4 control native PS5 games without keeping the controller connected over USB and without assigning it to a second user. So release candidate 38 fix. This is games that reserve disconnected controller slots. that can break the rooting, even when the controller you want to is connected properly. The release was tested on firmware 11.60 with Pragmatica, JoJo, and FC26. The repository also has support data for firmware 8.60 and 12.40, so maybe something worth checking out. If that is a scenario you're interested in, let's go ahead now and talk about progress. From 3 of the larger PlayStation Emulator projects, so Kaitai PS5 has a new August 11th automated build, with continued work across shaders, rendering audio, the launcher, in-game compatibility. The Sky is 6 and Silent Hill, the short message, are still among the titles shown. Reaching in-game states now, SharpEmu is now at version 0.0.3 release 3, and the big addition here is Real H.to60 for video decoding, along with more TLS CPU and memory fixes. Demon's Souls Remake and Dead Cells remain among the games being tested and worked on. And then finally, Chunky Station 4 continues its PS4 emulation work after Alpha 2, adding more GCN instructions and operating system interface dubs. This project showcase includes Tomb Raider and We Are Doomed. So as we can see all here, 3 of these projects are actively moving along, but it still appears that more progress is being made on the PS5 front as of lately. Okay, so here is the latest game roundup for jailbroken PlayStation users. On the PS5 side, some of the listings includes Lego Brawls and HL26 Hi-Fi Rush Deluxe Edition Horizon, Call of the Mountain, and more. Again, you probably want to grab one of these PSVR 2s because there is quite a bit of VR to titles that is now available for us. And for the PS4 listed includes Galgun Bolt, First Blood Omen, and a couple of more. Now one of the major folks that works on that has been gone, but now they are back in town, so we should see more PS4 titles hitting it anyways. The full set of titles is on the screen, so pause here if you want to take a closer look, okay? And so that is going to do it for this one, but before we go, which project would you like for me to feature on the channel? 40's WebKit work, LuaMD, LuaGB, OnionHEN, PIZZA-HEN, or PoorDS4? Let me know in the comments, and if this episode helps, please leave a like and subscribe for more PlayStation Homebrew news. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, Michael.